Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're actually doing an 8-4 Dragons of Tarkir drafts. The release events are over, and they are finally just queued drafts. What's Iron Shaman do? 2 mana, 2/1, can't be blocked except by 2 or more. It's got Megamorph, and that's pretty good actually. I like that. That's a pretty solid 2-drop, and it's a very cheap Megamorph as well. There also is a Vulturous Haven in this pack too, though, which is very good. Which is interesting. Something to consider. Yeah, Vulturous Haven's really good. Definitely good. Other good cards in here as well. Stampeding Elkherd, Sprinting Warbrute, Hand of Silumgar. I want to do the Iron Shaman though because I do feel like this card's certainly worthy of trying out. It's quite a bit of abilities mashed onto one card if you think about it. I mean, it's got a form of evasion, and then in that it can't be blocked easily. It's got Megamorph for a cheap cost, and on top of that, when you turn it face up, you can play another spell for free. I kind of like it, so I'll take it. All right, and then we immediately miss, which is kind of crazy. So now I guess we just take the best card in the pack, which I feel like is this Cobra. I haven't even gotten a chance to play with this card yet, but does anybody else think this card is like extremely aggressively costed for what you get? 4 mana, 2/5 Death Touch in black too. It's pretty incredible. The problem with that, of course, being if I'm playing Iron Shaman, Cobra's not exactly the card you want, but it's so much vastly superior to Reckless Imp. I think it's got to be the best card in this pack too. I mean, it's got to be the Cobra. The Bowmasters are close. They're good too. I like the Bowmasters more than the Hulk. Artful Maneuver, I mean, is fine. I like the Boros decks. I'm just going to take this Cobra. I think this card is just really insanely good. Okay, so third pick. Well, let's see here. Strongarm Monk is pretty good. I've had a couple people leave comments they don't think it's very good, but I actually like it. Marsh Hulk, certainly a fine finisher. Dragon Fodder is pretty good. Not much red in the last couple packs, which is worrisome for Iron Shaman. So it could be just... I mean, Ojutai's Breath is, of course, very good, too. It's got Rebound. Gadul Lurker is fine. I kind of want to stay on black and just maybe take the Marsh Hulk. I feel like taking Marsh Hulk is kind of like the safest pick here, since it's a fine finisher and it keeps me... It's probably the best card in this pack, or at least close to the best card in this pack. I don't know. It's debatable. There wasn't anything crazy in that pack. All right, Seismic Rupture is a pretty good control card. It actually pairs really well with Marsh Hulk face up and Cobra, as it kills a lot of things. It's without flying only, which is important to note. I think Defeat is okay. Overall, this card has been pretty underwhelming for me. It's certainly not an exciting pick here either. This could be a decent time to jump into blue, maybe? Drowner seems like it's the best card in this pack. Doesn't necessarily mean blue's open, but I could just take Defeat. I don't really like Defeat all that much. I'm going to take it. It's like I said, it's pretty underwhelming. It does kill things on occasion, though, which might make it good. Well, we still might be able to make an aggressive black-red deck work. I mean, Warbringer pick 5 is not bad. It's a pretty highly contested card, I would think, for the most part. It's got, you dash it out, and then all your other dashes become cheaper, too. Maybe we even table Foul Tongue Shriek, and I try that card for once. Although this card's much better if I've got the Dragon Fodder, which I'm not sure is going to table yet. Couple good green cards in here. I think Warbringer has got to be the best card remaining in this pack, though. So I'll just take it. Okay, I can take Acid Spewer Dragon. There's also Lose Calm, and there's Tormenting Voice, all of which are certainly fine and playable. The best card remaining in this pack is, I don't know, I guess probably the Dragon. This whole cycle is pretty underwhelming for the most part. The exception being maybe, the Hexproof, the Lifelink one, I guess. Um, Lose Calm, like I said, yeah, it's fine. Tormenting Voice is fine. I guess we'll take the Dragon. I think it's likely the strongest card remaining. The only problem I'm seeing right now is black red typically wants to be pretty aggressive, and to be honest, we're not looking as aggressive as I would like at the moment. I like Summit Prowler though. Summit Prowler is a pretty solid red card. Certainly a fine beatdown. I mean, maybe we just don't get to do a black-red dash deck. You can still play black-red. It's not like the black-red cards we have right now are bad, because they're certainly not. They're certainly fine. Dutiful Attendant is a fine card. No, I don't think it's as good as Summit Prowler. And I like Volcanic Rush too, but I think I'd rather have the Prowler. If I had more cheap creatures already, I might be more inclined to pick the Volcanic Rush, but I'm okay with this. Okay, there's some blue picks here. None of which are insane, though. I mean, just because these blue picks are tabling doesn't necessarily mean blue's open. Like, Skywise Teachings is one of those, like, speculative build-around cards. Reduce in Stature is okay, but it's significantly worse than Pacifism, and Pacifism has already become sort of like an okay card in this format, nothing crazy. I mean, I'm fine taking Tormenting Voice because it's certainly a fine card. Otherwise, updraft. It's like all of the blue cards that have tabled here are pretty mediocre, and the white cards are actually playable, but not insane. Okay, so we tabled actually some good red cards, which is good news. I like the Warbrute more than the Brawler. I think Brawler's fine, and we already have a couple 4-drops, I guess, which could make the Warbrute a little more worrisome, but Warbrute's also a 5-drop, I guess. I like to put things in their dash cost sometimes, if it helps helps me examine the cost of the deck, but for now I can leave them at their casting cost. So yeah, I'll take the Warbrute over the Brawler, I think. This pack didn't have red picks anyway, so it was just kind of a weak pack for us regardless. I can take Vandalize, I guess. I mean, it's a sideboard card, it cuts red. I'm giving up on what, like a Sandstep Scavenger. I've unfortunately kind of already sort of solidified myself into black-red. I didn't want to, but first picking the Ire Shaman and then being unable to second pick a red card, I feel like hurt me a little bit. But like I said, even though there were some blue cards flowing, they weren't very good blue cards. Duress is fine here. I can main deck it. I typically don't, but it's a chance. Impact Trimmers is actually... LSV said it was straight unplayable, and it doesn't look very good in our deck right now. But considering it's a card that actually pairs well with Dash, I find it interesting. Alright, Foul Tongue Shriek, I kind of wanted to table that. I think Impact Trimmers and Foul Tongue Shriek are a couple cards that are going to need some work to actually be playable in our deck. But so not the best start. We did get, we opened a decent rare that I'm happy to try out. But we need a lower curve to really be the aggressive deck that I want this to be, especially with Impact Trimmers and Foul Tongue Shriek. Alright, so we open a rare that's not on color, so I don't think I'm going to take that. I think we likely just take the Sarkhan's Rage. There's Storm Singer, which I think is likely something I'd like to wheel. And there's a Karsi Sadist, and Shieldhide Dragon, of course, is good. But I'm very happy taking Sarkhan's Rage. It's a very good card. And some people don't think it's that good, but I do. I like it. Instant speed, 5 damage to any target. Yes, it comes at the cost of a couple damage to yourself, but I really do think Sarkhan's Rage is an excellent finisher or removal spell. So, I like it. Well, that's kind of cool. We got past the Zergo Bellstriker. I was looking for some nice aggressively costed cards. Let me see how much it's worth. Because to be honest, I would almost argue Hand of Silumgar is just like a better card. But let me look. I'll look at the price on it. Alright, he's close to 3 tickets. He's a 1-drop. We'll take him. We're going to hope to table Butcher's Glee, Hand of Silumgar, or Hardened Berserker. Any of those would be a very welcome sight. But Zergo Bellstriker's fine. It's worth 3 tickets, and it's a 1-drop 2/2. So certainly aggressive. All right, I think we're just slamming Roast here. I would like the Bloodshin Rager, especially since I have a Bell Striker already, which is a warrior, but I guess I don't actually have that many other warriors. A lot of Berserkers and stuff like that, but Roast is just a really good card for dealing with those pesky 5 toughness dudes, so we'll certainly take it here over the Bloodshin Rager. Would like the Rager too. Ooh, second Warbringer. I think, ooh, and an Efreet? That is tough. And Hand of Silumgar. Well, the good news about this direction is a lot of good picks for us. I think I'm going to take Warbringer number 2. These start to get pretty nasty in multiples. And I don't know, though. I mean, Efreet is sick, too. And what I like about Efreet is the fact that it can kill X1 creatures or just, deal 1 damage to your opponent. Like it kills Hand of Silumgar, which is really nice. But I'm pretty tempted to take this Warbringer and start really. I mean, we only have a few picks left to actually get some good dash cards, but Warbringer with like sprinting Warbrute, or I guess it makes Bell Striker cheaper. I kind of want to just take it because it's uncommon. There's probably a reasonable argument for our Tarkir Efreet there, but if I could get some more dash, I'm going to be pretty happy. All right, I probably take Coat with Venom. Just a really excellent combat trick, very cheap. I could take the Volcanic Rush too, but I feel like if I have a bunch of dash, that's probably not going to work as well as I would like. So let's take Coat with Venom here, I think. I think that's fine. Okay, I think I just take Reckless Imp here. I like Kindled Fury, but we're actually a little bit creature light, and dash is... I actually don't think Reckless Imp is a very good card, but I'm going to take it here regardless because I just think it's the correct pick for our deck, so I'll take it. Impact Trimmers number 2. Why play 1 mediocre card when you can play 2? I think I actually just hate here. And I probably just hate the Scale Lord, which is, I think, the best pick. Glade Watcher is a nice cheap defense against us, but I guess I hate Scale Lord. It's a pretty big finisher. All right, Aspirant would be a very nice pickup here as a 2-drop creature. There's a Calcisma Behemoth too, but I feel like our mana is going to be a little bit tied up with all these dash costs, so I think we just take the 2-drop. I guess Self-Inflicted Wound is pretty good too. It's only okay though. It's not my favorite of this cycle. But yeah, I mean, we really need this Aspirant. We want some nice... We want to curve out. All right, we tabled this Storm Singer, and I think it's very much playable in this deck, so I'm happy enough taking it. All right, we got the Berserker back, which is great news, because I think that card's actually very good for us too. Although it doesn't pair that well with Dash, but it's still a fairly aggressively costed card. And it's better for our deck than the Dragon Lord's Servant, excuse me. All right, Kindled Fury, surely we can take and play that. And Obscuring Ether, well, I guess we'll hate it, because it seems like an okay card. Foul Tongue Shriek number 2, well, once again, if you're going to play mediocre cards, I say go all out. So I think the only pick I maybe regret is whatever I took over Dragon Fodder. I actually can't recall what I took over Dragon Fodder now. But, so we already have a deck, not even going into Fate Reforged pack, which is a pretty good sign. Should mean we should be able to find some good upgrades here. Like Mardu Scout, for example, which is just a really fine 2-drop card. Once again, another way to pair well with Warbringer. Maybe table the Smoldering Efreet. I think we're very likely going to be able to get a pretty aggressive deck here, which is nice. Pretty curious about this Foul Tongue Shriek. I think it's likely to not make the deck, but we'll cut it as we go. So let's take the Mardu Scout. I think that's just clearly what our deck wants. Ooh, Arcbond's a big one. Really happily picking that up. Another good pick for us would be the Angler. I actually think with all this cheap stuff, we could probably get away with it, but actually debating the impact trimmers. Maybe I shouldn't. But like I said, it's actually it's one of those cards that's like reasonably good with dash. But yeah, I mean, we're definitely slamming Arc Bond here. I think we're likely to be a 17 land deck because we actually have these big finishers, which admittedly I'd almost like to cut out of our deck. I guess I don't have to though. It's just I think more often than not they're going to end up being Gray Ogres in any given match. But let's take the Arc Bond here regardless. Arc Bond's huge. Heel Cutter's an amazing pickup for us. Seeing as it's just a tremendously strong card in general. And another dash card that's going to be remarkably good with Warbringer. Let's probably just cut the mediocre cards. Foul Tongue Shrieks and Impact Trimmers, I think, are probably going to get the Axe to just combat tricks. I think the next card that probably gets booted is Duress main deck, which I think is actually a very good card, but I would prefer with this deck to more run it as a sideboard option. All right, Mardu Scout number 2. Really getting some nice pickups here. We don't really need Bloodfell Caves. We're just 2-color, not too color-intensive deck. I mean, I guess we're a little bit color. No, we're just mostly, we're almost, to be honest, we're borderline mono-red, which is kind of impressive, but there's still enough, well, I was going to say there's enough incentive to play black, but there probably is. But I wouldn't mind getting away with a 16-land mono-red deck if that option presents itself. I wouldn't be opposed to it. The black cards I have are only okay now that I'm looking a little closer at it. All right, Smoldering Efreet, I think is going to get the go-ahead over the Lightning Shrieker. Mardu Shadow Spear is fine, but I don't mind taking the Efreet here. I mean, Shadow Spear's only okay. It does have dash, but it's on par with Smoldering Efreet, and I like the idea of possibly working towards a mono red deck. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but well, we're getting a late Goreswine. I think that this could realistically happen. Like cut the dragon because I don't really like it that much. Take the Goreswine here. Maybe cut the Marsh Hulk. There is a Bloodfell Caves. Cobra, as good as it is, isn't really what I want to do with this deck. I'm going to take the red card. I honestly think there's a pretty decent chance we're playing mono red, as crazy as that seems. Maybe the Rune Mark, in case I need it. Efreet number 2 definitely seems good enough when you're trying to be... Yeah, all right. I think mono red's happening. Straight up think it is happening here. So how bad's our removal if I do that? We have Sarkhan's Rage, Arc Bond. Definitely wouldn't, I'd prefer to cut the Rune Mark, but I guess with all the 2-drops we have, Rune Mark could be played. But it's like strictly worse than... Here I don't care about anything, I guess. I'll just take this, whatever. Oh, I screwed it up. All right, Feral Cruciak, I think is probably the best of those. Although maybe Jeskai Rune Mark should have been the pick as like a potential option. I don't care about any of these, I guess. Whatever. Okay, so we have a deck. Our deck looks okay. It's mono red, which is interesting. I think I likely play 16 lands because it's not a ton of incentive to play 17. Our deck's pretty cheap. I think it's interesting. There's probably going to be a couple people that say I should just play the black, but I don't know. Is our black really that good? Not really. Cobra's by far the best card of black we have, followed by maybe Coat with Venom and then like Marsh Hulk and other dude after that, Acid Spear Dragon or something. Like, honestly, I'm not convinced that black's necessary in this deck. But if we aren't playing black and I want to play 16 lands, then that pretty much just leaves me with an Impact Trimmers, which I think I'm still okay with. You know what? I'm gonna play Impact Trimmers in this deck. We've got, let's count up our dash cards. I'm gonna move stuff to their dash spots or their Megamorph spots at this point, just to get a better idea of what we're looking at here. So it's really like 17 creatures, pretty removal light, Roast, Sarkhan's Rage, Arc Bond, and I am playing a Mardu Rune Mark. All right, pretty lackluster there, I do admit, but I still kind of want to play this mono red and just play it 16 lands, go. Like, we look like we can be fairly aggressive. The weakest card in the deck is Mardu Rune Mark. Oh, well, Impact Trimmers maybe. But I actually do think Impact Trimmers is decent with dash. And we have how many dash guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 dash guys with repeatable Impact Trimmers. Potential effect could be good. I feel like Impact Trimmers. I don't want to talk this. Please, for the love of God, don't leave a comment saying I'm talking up Impact Trimmers, because I don't think the card is that good. But I'm interested enough in trying it in a deck like this where I'm going to play it. And, I mean, we look pretty aggressive. That is a lot of 2-drop creatures. We have straight up 8 creatures that are 2-drop or less, and then tons of 3-drop creatures, at least dashing or otherwise. And I guess even 10 if you count Irish Shaman as a 2-drop, which I very easily could. Yeah, I actually really like this deck. I can't rate it too high because our removal is pretty lacking. Even with black, our removal is not that good. We have a defeat, a coat with and a couple coat with venoms. I might have gotten duped now that I think about it. I don't think this is. I think I'm going to have to rebuild my deck. I might have glitched the thing again. This happens periodically, but let's see if it worked. Oh, it did work. All right, well, I'm going to run it like this anyway. So I guess we'll see you round 1 with our mono red 6.5 out of 10 deck. So, all right. We'll, am I even going to rate it that high, 6.5 out of 10? Yeah, I'll give it that because it gets 6.5 out of 10 because it's monocolor. But its removal is bad enough where I can't give it comfortably any higher than that. All right. We'll see you around 1.